Hello, I hope you're having a good day. Today we're going to explore a movie titled Ash. A young astronaut named Rhea regains consciousness aboard a space station that has landed on the surface of a planet early explorers have named Ash. She immediately realizes she can't remember her own name or how she arrived there. An inexplicable scar crosses her forehead. Nightmarish visions flood her mind, and disembodied voices blame her for what has occurred. A sharp alert from the station's AI warns of an emergency hazard, forcing her to get up, restore the station's power supply, and fix a system failure. As Rhea moves through the station, she is horrified to find bloodstains on the walls and floor. She soon discovers the corpse of a crewmate, pulls a knife from the body and keeps going, realizing all her companions are dead. She approaches an open hatch beyond which a rocky landscape extends under a sky where flakes resembling ash fall constantly. Above her, a massive portal of light opens, resembling a tunnel. A man's name, Brian, surfaces in her thoughts. Her breathing grows frantic as she struggles to return to the station, where the life support system shows dangerously low oxygen levels. Rhea tries to make sense of what's happening to her, but distorted faces of former crewmates flicker before her eyes. Then there's a sudden transition to a pristine break room where young people laugh and play. Kevin delivers a pompous speech about prosperity, and Davis proposes a toast to Brian with 5 servings of beans, provoking general laughter. The crew celebrates, believing Rhea deserves the honor of being the first to set foot on the newly discovered celestial body, the first nearly breathable planet they've found in years. Back in reality, Rhea arrives at the infirmary and wraps a bandage around a neck wound. She then heads to the shower, trying to piece together her identity and the events that led her here. Later, she explores the station and finds the ship's log, containing data on atmospheric conditions and pressure levels in various compartments. According to video logs, she had been working with plants, but Rhea has no memory of it. Suddenly, the security system flags movement in Zone 1. Armed with the knife, Rhea heads toward the source of the movement and attacks a figure in a spacesuit entering through the airlock. The stranger calls her by name and pleads with her to stop. Seeing her hesitation, he identifies himself as Brian and explains he arrived from the orbital ship after receiving a distress signal from the station. According to him, Clark attacked the crew and killed them all. Rhea admits she only recalls fragments, visions, and the attack by a woman. She has no idea what's going on, who she is, or where she is. Brian activates a medical drone and explains that his expedition and spaceship are called 7F. He realizes that Rhea's memory has been entirely erased. Even her memories of Earth are gone. The woman is placed on a diagnostic table, and the medical robot begins scanning her body. While this happens, Brian tells her that the previous 6 missions ended in failure. Now, all of humanity's hopes rest on this 7th attempt, as Earth's resources are nearly depleted. If successful, this new world could become their home. At that moment, the Medbot's instruments probe Rhea's head wound. Seeing her in pain, Brian tries to comfort her. He explains that he was meant to remain in orbit as an observer of the base to react to any danger, which is exactly what he's done. Suddenly, Rhea remembers a bright object in the sky, and Brian confirms it's a mothership orbiting above. As the Medbot continues treating Rhea's injuries, Brian shows concern about her condition. Rhea confesses that she used a medical patch that causes strange sensations, as if allowing her to recall fragments of the past. Brian recalls how, during their journey, the team discussed their reasons for joining the space program. Rhea had emphasized it wasn't about sacrifice, but about seeking answers to questions haunting people on Earth. She had grown dissatisfied with the planet's present and was willing to do whatever it took to help humanity. Brian remarks that even with her memory loss, she remains true to herself and suggests she rest for a while. But Rhea can't stop thinking about Clark, who might still be alive. If so, her oxygen supply must be running out. She urgently needs shelter, as sandstorms here are extremely dangerous. Rhea suits up and ventures out to find her companion. She remembers seeing a drone she intended to operate before everything went wrong and hopes to locate it. While scanning the terrain, Rhea considers the possibility that Clark was infected by an alien virus and lost her sanity, which led to the tragedy. As Rhea drags black bags filled with astronaut remains out of the station, Brian advises her to forget what happened. The station is running on reserve power that only sustains basic functions. Even the oxygen supply is nearly depleted. They must leave the planet immediately. Everything else, including the cause of the disaster, no longer matters. Their top priority is returning to orbit. It's no easy task, as the shuttle's trajectory must align precisely with the ship's orbit. Concerned about Rhea's condition, Brian notices her fatigue. She too feels exhausted and decides to rest, but her eyes land on Kevin's lifeless body. At that moment, she envisions a horrifying monster covered in blood. The vision quickly fades, and Rhea rushes back to the ship, blaming the episode on exhaustion. Still, nearly every object that could serve as a weapon reminds her of the recent tragedy. Rhea resorts again to using a psychedelic patch. Later, the station is engulfed by a sandstorm. As she watches it, Rhea realizes her memories are beginning to return and informs Brian. Suddenly, the AI reports a decompression event as they both suit up in their spacesuits. The remaining crew members go out to locate the breach while alarms sound, warning of critically low oxygen levels. Upon reaching the emergency compartment, they find signs that someone or something has been there. Hearing a strange noise, Rhea follows it and discovers a leak. But as she begins to seal it, she sees Clark's distorted, mocking face. Summoning all her strength, she fights the nightmarish vision and completes the repair before returning to the quarters. Brian speculates that Clark may have contracted some pathogen that triggered a mental collapse, something akin to rabies. However, Rhea notices inconsistencies in his explanation. She's determined to uncover the truth and find Clark. But Brian reminds her that they've already lost 30% of their oxygen reserves and that the next launch window won't open for another 5 hours. When Rhea insists, he warns her that any delay could doom them to die from suffocation. All of their crew's efforts would be in vain. He admits he doesn't know what really happened to Clark, but promises they'll get to the bottom of it. Rhea retreats to her cabin, reviewing footage of her fallen crewmates and remembering Kevin, with whom she shared a deep bond. She closes her eyes. Suddenly, Rhea finds herself standing under an open sky. A drone camera points at her before rising high above. Looking around, she realizes she's in the middle of a blooming meadow, dressed in an elegant gown and adorned with exotic jewelry. Sunlight dances through palm leaves, and not far away stands Kevin. In front of him is some kind of piping, and when Rhea appears inside it, she sees a spiral tunnel that pulls her in. Suddenly, Kevin screams in pain. Rhea sees him aboard the ship and wakes up in tears. The woman finds archival footage from the expedition that had been studying the planet. The team concludes that the conditions are acceptable, and though they feel no strong nostalgia for Earth, they recognize adapting to the local landscape will be difficult. Soon, the astronauts discover the source of the anomalies Brian had detected from orbit. It turns out to be a massive underground tunnel filled with unknown, glowing objects. The astronauts realize these are terraforming facilities generating the planet's atmosphere. One of them tries to measure the tunnel's depth, but during the descent, an explosion occurs. Flashes of light and whirlwinds of an unknown substance erupt toward the sky. Horrified, Rhea realizes her crewmates are dying. At that moment, Brian enters, and upon seeing the tablet in her hands, reluctantly admits that the entire mission was lost. Rhea demands answers. After so long on the edge of madness, he already knew the planet was being prepared for colonization. He claims his mission was to monitor her specifically, and that despite her memory loss, she's still essentially the same person. Therefore, their priority is to escape first and figure everything out later. Unexpectedly, Rhea confesses she killed everyone without understanding why, and that she cannot leave the station. She realizes the patches help her recover memories, but Brian admits he doesn't trust her current mental state. Their mission is to save humanity. They've discovered technology capable of altering entire planets. This could change the fate of their species. Therefore, completing the mission must remain the top priority. In 2 hours and 39 minutes, they must launch, no matter what. Rhea has no choice but to comply. She starts gathering her belongings when Brian appears and replaces her patch, promising to return before takeoff. After he leaves, Rhea is overwhelmed by her longest memory yet. She sees herself in the lab being attacked by a deranged Adi. She tries to defend herself, but he's too strong. His face twists into a horrific grimace. Grabbing a pair of scissors, Rhea frantically stabs the astronaut's body. Suddenly, her strength fades, and she collapses onto a bed. Bloody, distorted faces of her crewmates flash before her eyes, and she realizes the infection was widespread. She calls Brian to report her discovery but gets no response. Searching for him, she roams the ship and finds Brian's lifeless body on the floor. Horrified, Rhea runs away, only to encounter Clark in a spacesuit. Grabbing a torch, she aims the flame at her friend, setting the suit on fire. Clark pushes her away and activates the fire suppression system. Then she advances toward Rhea, and a desperate struggle breaks out. Clark traps Rhea inside the shower cabin, but Rhea grabs a hose, inserts it into Clark's helmet, and fills it with water. Clark drowns. Rhea drags Clark's body to the infirmary and initiates a scan, but the bot detects no injuries beyond pulmonary damage caused by drowning. At that moment, the AI announces that the launch window to orbit is open. Rhea throws another black bag into the barren landscape and gazes at a bright star above. Their main ship still awaits the crew in orbit. Returning to the station, she tries to initiate the launch sequence. After failing, she applies 2 patches to her neck simultaneously and remembers Brian. The bot scans her body and reports he died 51 hours ago, something that should be impossible. Suddenly, the security system signals anomalous activity and the detection of an unknown life form. Rhea scans the ship again and finds Brian alive, realizing it's the infection animating his body. Unexpectedly, Brian promises to show her something that will make everything clear. Her memories take her back to the moment when the astronauts returned to the station with a newly discovered substance found in one of the compartments. Rhea hears her friends arguing about how a foreign life form had taken over the station, likely studying them while waiting for the right moment to attack. When Adi suggests abandoning the station immediately to save the mission, Rhea becomes upset. They had discovered what millions of astronauts had only dreamed of: extraterrestrial life. Moreover, this discovery could facilitate planetary colonization. Humanity could now inhabit new worlds without fearing hostile atmospheres. Wearing a protective suit, she enters the contaminated compartment and collects a sample. The study reveals it's a technology composed of self-replicating organisms. Suddenly, the sample escapes its container and attacks Adi. Rhea watches in horror as a tentacled creature enters through his nose. Adi's face deforms and he tries to kill her. The rest of the team rushes to her screams. Clark tries to pull Rhea to safety while Kevin checks on Adi, who suddenly attacks him. In a desperate struggle, Kevin kills Adi, but the parasite instantly transfers to Kevin's body. Now, Kevin goes after Rhea. Clark, still in her suit, tries to protect her, but Kevin strikes her viciously until Brian appears, frozen in shock. Kevin then charges at Brian, giving Rhea just enough time to place a helmet on Clark and send her toward the escape pod. Unexpectedly, Kevin speaks to Rhea, and she begs his forgiveness for what she's about to do. As he mutates before her eyes, Rhea plunges a knife into his chest. The creature bursts out of his body and enters Rhea through her open wound. She feels the presence of an alien mind inside her. The AI announces parasitic activity. A red alien organism pulses in her head. Rhea realizes she can hear its voice. It claims the planet as its own and vows not to let humanity take it. They plan to make Rhea part of their alien legion. She refuses to join the alien collective, rips the patches from her neck, and runs to the infirmary. A scan reveals the parasite lodged inside her head, and Rhea agrees to have it removed. During the procedure, her heart stops. but the medical bot revives her and eliminates the parasite. Suddenly, Brian mutates. Tentacles sprout from his head as he lunges at her. Rhea stabs him with a knife, but the creature keeps attacking. She grabs the torch and incinerates him. The station is now engulfed in flames. Wearing a protective suit, Rhea evacuates the burning ship. Upon reaching the escape pod, she activates the engines and sets course for the main ship. Her heart heavy with the memory of her fallen crewmates, she brings an end to a story that masterfully blends cosmic horror with psychological thriller, constantly making the viewer question the reality of the events. Masterful direction, standout performances, and an awe-inspiring atmosphere create an immersive and unforgettable experience. I hope you enjoyed the video.